Hi, I'm Conor Byrne, and this is That's What I Call Marketing, the podcast where you will hear from the leading lights in the marketing world and listen to their unique insights. Well, today we are not here to talk about macro themes. No, we are here getting all festive, talking all things Christmas with two exceptional marketers. Before I introduce them to you, just a reminder to subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so you never miss an episode of That's What I Call Marketing again. And of course, if you enjoy this episode, please give us a rating. Look, it's Christmas, why wouldn't you? Just thanks a million to the Indie List who are sponsoring today's episode. And as if you don't know already, the Indie List is where you'll find the greatest freelance talent and fractional marketing leaders in the country. Check out theindielist.ie. And special thanks to TBWA Dublin who are hosting us in the location today, and Oranges and Lemons who have set up the full production for us. So here we go, on to my two brilliant guests today. Well, first up is Emer McCarthy. Now, Emer was one of my very early guests on season 1 of That's What I Call Marketing and was such a hugely popular guest, more popular than Paul Durbin. I had to have her back. Emer is one of the greatest advertisers, not only in this country, but she ranks up there with the best in the world. She's built strong brands at O2, 48, Betfair, Paddy Power, and is now is in Diageo. Emer, thanks for coming back. Great to have you here. Next up is Paul Mallon. Paul started out as a journalist and became well known as head of mischief and later head of brand advertising at Paddy Power. At Paddy, Paul had the knack of creating campaigns that stuck and were bolder than the Christmas jumper he's wearing today. TV spots with Peter Crouch, Colin Meaney, Cantona, and the famous Rainbow Laces campaign. And after mastering the art of grabbing attention at Paddy, Paul has taken his talents to Lucky Generals, where he heads up special ops. So, Paul, thanks a million for joining us. Great to have you here.
Lovely to be here, Conor. What an intro. God.
I know, what an intro. Pay you later.
Right, let's get into everything we want to talk about today. And Christmas ads is a huge topic for us to talk about. Let's start with, if you're okay, John Lewis. It's kind of maybe not the thing that started the whole Christmas ad thing, but it definitely has become the owner maybe of Christmas advertising. What, Emer, did you think of their Christmas ad this year?
I really liked it. I know it's divisive. Some love it or hate it. I liked it. I liked it for, look, it was a poison chalice to win that account, and I think they did a good job. I think the music's deadly.
Yeah.
And I think the music saves it. And yeah, I think, look, but what I will say this year is that the other brands are definitely catching up on John Lewis. And what I would say is, whilst I like it, I would say it wasn't the best ad this Christmas, which is nice to hear, right?
Yeah.
It's nice that there's some competition out there, but I don't think it's a bad ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, what's your view on it?
Harsh, it's not a bad. Do you know what? Just tough crowd, isn't it? Like, just on the John Lewis thing, like, we've got John Lewis playlist on Spotify, and our kids ask to hear the John Lewis ads or see the old John Lewis ads, and that's like an incredible dent in culture, isn't it? Like, so they've done an incredible job with their advertising over the years, and WhatsApp was buzzing on it before, and like trade publications were emailing the morning looking for reaction, all that. So they've made an incredible job of it, and the new agency, like, who wouldn't want to crack at that? They've, taken it on. I love the madness of it.
Yeah.
I love the line, "Let your traditions grow," is a lovely line. Kind of would have liked to see Snapper eat the dog at that point, or when he barfs out the presents at the end. It's like, oh, it would be fun if he just eaten the presents. Like, I like the madness of it. Yeah, I thought it was good. Compared to the other ads, and I've kind of said this about John Lewis before, like, the ads are these epic things.
Yeah.
And then you previously would have gone to John Lewis at Heathrow, and they don't bring the brands through the experience as much. So you got this beautiful epic ad shouting about what a great brand you are, and then you arrive in John Lewis, you don't quite get that in the way other brands perhaps bring their brand through their products and that. So I'd be quite critical of that. And then just the coding of John Lewis through it, it could maybe have been others following a similar storytelling pattern.
Just as a client looking at the ad, I have an awful habit of doing this, which is retro briefing it and going, I know what they bought there. And I see the snapper and I'm like, and throwing out the presents.
Yeah.
And as the client, I'm like, oh, I can throw in all of my products. And I don't think they used it enough in that way. Like, I think if he could have spat out some this year's most wanted, I think it would have worked a little bit harder for them. But yeah, I can see it as a client. I'm watching it going, oh, I see why they bought that snapper, because it could work as a device. It could be a hard working device for them.
Yeah. And I guess on that maybe device, if they use it over and over again, and like you're saying, you know, I don't know, did it show up in store or did it not? The poison chalice thing I think is interesting. You mentioned it there, like for an agency to win John Lewis is, I'm sure, like high fives all round.
Yeah.
And then as all good agencies, like, oh shit, now we've got to go do it.
Do the
like,
work, yeah.
That's hard. It's a hard one to get.
It is. And I think it was brave in some respects. I think the music's brave. I think the music's really good and it does cut through. I guess they could have played it safe and gone, you know, very traditional.
It's they customise the track, isn't it? It's done for the ad, is it?
Oh, is it? I didn't know.
I might be making it up, but I thought it was. It wrecks my head. I don't like the music at all. But
I like it only because it's different and it's distinctive. But I think it adds an energy to the ad, and it could have gone down the road of, you know, the Penguin or which was over sentimental and beautifully scored, but I just thought it was brave, and I don't think it's a bad. I liked it. Yeah,
I mean that was done. I think so. I think that was the genius move, was to not do what they'd done before.
And take it on just enough.
Yeah,
probably without throwing out everything.
Yeah,
and we're sure the dog didn't die in the end. Like, do we see the dog after that moment?
I hope there's a cut to the dog.
Director's
the snapper taking out the dog would be good. Yeah.
Right, so we move on to some of the other kind of most talked about ads this year. Amazon was up there as being a really talked about ad. What was your take on it, Emer?
Cards on Table. It's my favourite ad this Christmas.
Oh wow! Okay, so scratch that
There
question
you go. No, I absolutely. The first time I saw that ad, I rewinded it.
Oh wow!
And I think, it's got so much going for it. I'm retro briefing again, but as the client, I'd be delighted because there's a moment of truth in that ad. I see a product UX. I'm like, wow, they've even weaved that in.
Yeah.
You know, there's the delivery, there's the opening of it. So in terms of, you know, a product experience, I think they've captured it all. But in such and the way great brands do it, which is apply a story to their product.
Yeah.
And really, like we should always be doing that. Like, why do we only do that for Christmas?
Yeah.
We seem to throw everything out and go back to hard sell.
Good advertisements for life, not just for Christmas.
Exactly. And it takes the best bits of Amazon, applies a beautiful story to it, and branding wise, emotion wise, I thought it was really, really strong. And we spoke about this off camera, but for me, the best bit about that ad, and it's not really being spoken about, is the music.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have paid, like, it's the Beatles, and we couldn't think off camera what other brands had used. I'm sure there are, but
John Lewis.
Is it? Is
John Lewis Elbow did a cover of Golden Sunburst for Moz and Monster, didn't they?
That's right. But yeah, I think a Beatles track, and I'd be the first client to be guilty of this. I know I would be, which is, you know, if I'd have just paid John and Paul, you know, that amount of money, I would want that track banging in the first 5 seconds and get everything. Yeah. But it is the way they've treated the song. It is played out very slowly, very beautifully. And actually you hear the first few chords and you're like, is that the Beatles? And you've got to wait till about 10 seconds in before you go, it is the Beatles. Yeah. And it's beautiful. So I think that the way they've treated the song, and kudos to the creative director on this, to not rush in and go, look, we've got the Beatles, was such a brave thing to do. So yeah, that is my favourite ad this Christmas.
Well, there was kind of criticism, probably a bit unfair, but maybe in media or marketing circles, people are like, oh, we don't like this ad. And like, did you pick up any of that? Any thoughts on it?
What was the criticism of it?
I just think something like marketing people are like, I don't really like it. And then System 1 tested it and went like, but human beings do.
I think, like if you judge your WhatsApp, people are very quick to crap on other people's work. Yeah. It's easy, isn't it, to be Captain Hindsight and go, oh, that's crap, or this, that, like, and pick holes and stuff. They've used a gorgeous track, which is half the win, isn't it? And we were saying like maybe they didn't need to do the whole nostalgia look back, that just leave the grannies going down and give it a look or something. The Amazon boxes are in there quite early, which is like, I think some of the criticism might come from people being sick of. I thought there'd be a bigger, bigger zag this year where we'd had enough with the maudlin kind of ukulele covers or whatever it is.
Yes.
Right.
And so when you started the M&S track or the start of the Beatles, when it comes in with a slow, gorgeous song, you throw your eyes to heaven a tiny bit, or the cynics in us throw your eyes. Come on, give us something a bit fresher. Now the public will tell you a very different story.
Yeah.
They'll go, I get that to Amazon, that's gorgeous, that reminds me of my granny, or your parents will. So, you know, they have a very different story to tell, whereas marketing and advertising people get bored very quickly.
It does joy really well. It does, not to get weighed down too much, but with everything that's going on in the world, it does joy so well.
Yeah.
And I think the treatment of the three ladies is fantastic. I think their performance is really, really good. The reward at the end for everyone who's watching it is just joy.
Yeah.
And I think it does it really well with applying a joyful story to their product experience. I think is really done really well.
You're working hard for the Amazon voucher.
Here we go.
In the post.
So Amazon, get in touch. We'll move on to the next one we wanted to chat about. Probably enjoyable was Paul asked you about Asda and Michael Bublé.
Yeah, which they teased out well, and obviously follows Will Ferrell on your top.
Yeah.
Doing the Elf on the Shelf. Not Elf on the Shelf, Elf last
That
year.
started.
I'm obsessed with Elf on the Shelf. Young children. Michael Bublé, yeah, and like your defaults on this, like again, being, what are they doing, Michael Bublé, and they teased that this could go horribly wrong. And I thought, like, the best part of it is Bublé's acting and not his singing at the end. Yeah. Which says something about his acting performance. Really good.
He's actually deadly in it.
Yeah, he's really good.
His acting's really good.
He's really good. It's nicely written. And just from a really branding point of view, it's like every 2 seconds there's a brand cue for Asda. And compared to some of the others where it's like swap in your product here almost, this is like 2 seconds Asda, bit of green Asda product person, Asda badge, Asda truck. And not in a way like maybe Coca-Cola where it's screaming and slapping you in the face. It's kind of, okay, you've got Bublé who does a bit of the work in distracting and nice acting, but it's nicely branded.
But the branding feels natural because it's in the shop, it's in the store. So it's not forced into, let's put green in someone's living room and make it feel like an Asda living room. It's in the shop. So it doesn't feel overly forced or in your face. I think Michael.
Michael, would you come in here?
I think Mr. Bublé is excellent. His performance is deadly. And I think, and he's got again, another example of the supermarkets doing a great job of showing their product, like you say, every few seconds, showing it in a beautiful way or through quality. Like Michael's role is brilliant because he's director of quality or something like that. So it's his job to go around the shop and check out the quality, like a QC. But as a result, what you're seeing is cleverly they're showcasing their product in a really lovely way. So again, I think it's another example of showcasing your product with a lovely story. And when they're using talent or celebrity, it's being used in a way that cleverly benefits the product. And I think that's a very clever, like, Super Bowl ads get a hard time. So some of them are amazing. Some of them are awful. And the really bad ones are the ones that show celebrities where the brand is leading into a celebrity's world rather than a celebrity leaning into the brand's world. And we used to talk about this in Paddy Power, right? Yeah. Which is, if we were ever using talent, they had to lean into our gas Paddy world, and we weren't going to lean into their beautiful, professional world. And I think the supermarkets have done a brilliant job at that this year. I think Michael Bublé is a brilliant example of using talent in a way that showcases benefits and brings the best out of your product rather than the other way around.
It didn't feel like they had, like, we have Michael Bublé, what will we now do?
What are we going to do with him? Yeah. He had a role in the ad. The role was clever in that it enabled him to view all of even the clotheslines got a like
the suit he's wearing at the end,
suit he's wearing and everything. Everything came back to their product, which I thought was really clever. So yeah, big up to Asda.
My only criticism then of Asda is they had a brilliant ad last year with Elf.
Yep.
And everyone loved it.
I'm guessing you liked it.
I loved it. But like, I guess that comes to, we have this thing now with the Christmas ads where it's like, okay, every year there needs to be a new ad. It's a whole industry within itself. And it's great and it's enjoyable. Look, we're here talking about it. But Paul, should Asda have stuck with Elf?
It's a yes and no answer in that. I don't know like what Asda's enduring brand promises, right? But no, last year they've used big talent. This year they've used big talent. And so have they gone down this road of having to use big talent every year with a new idea, which is an expensive thing? I know why they've done it. Brand managers will get bored and want to do a new thing. Agencies may change and agencies want to make money. So they want to do new creative and freshen things up. On the opposite side of that is a brand like Guinness in Ireland who've run the same amazing ad at the home of the black stuff. We dream of a white one every year for God knows how long. And you think of Guinness and you think, it does an amazing job. So with this year's slew of ads, I don't know if there's one that you say, oh, that would run effectively next year. And why not? I think they should make ads that were of a 5-year, 10-year lifespan. Because people don't get sick of ads the way people in marketing do.
Yeah.
Like 16% of people only remember an ad the next day and who it's for? If you apply that to Christmas ads, like in the bookshop in my mind's here this morning, Hannah's bookshop in my mind's, I asked the lads, what Christmas ads have you noticed?
Did you?
But I said, I think I saw one for John Lewis, but like very little recall about who or what or why, you know?
Yeah, like it's, and so to that point, just pick up, do you think that none or very few of the ads that we've seen this year could probably run again next year? Like, do you think, again, let's pick Asda, could they do Buble again next year? It's same ad, run it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. Like,
okay, Asda, save yourself some money.
Well, look at, talk about Coke then.
Yes.
Because they've got, the most iconic Christmas ad up there with the Guinness one. And it runs every year, and every year everyone looks forward to it. And once you hear it, it's Christmas, Santa's coming. And then for some reason this year, they ran it alongside another one, which is Santa every what is the line? Every day needs a Santa Claus or something.
There's lots of Santas.
Lots of Santas. And I'd understand if it was a derivative of the classic Christmas trucks, but it's not even the same Santa, I don't think.
No.
And you're wondering why?
He was cancelled. The original Santa was cancelled. It was like,
and the truck as well.
And the trucks, and it's
diesel, heavy diesel.
Heavy diesel.
The one they have in this year is actually an EV.
Is it?
So, yes, I can confirm that.
But yeah, so I'm just confused as to why Sandy, as to why
he's coming back. Coke, be here in a few weeks.
Coke runs their Christmas that classic every year, but still feels the need to support it with something new. Is it to make the headlines? Is it for brand geeks like us to talk about?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure why it is, but like they've liquid gold on their hands. And I'd rather just play that a whole load more times than try and introduce something new.
And Kellogg's, I don't know if they still do the little ho 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 girl, but that can run forever, even though it's aged, it looks of its time. But like, you don't need to change it.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, and while we're on this kind of nostalgia buzz, Paul, you were talking about the radio, Barry's Tea radio ad. I mean, that's been going for
brilliant,
maybe at least 15 years, if not longer.
I haven't heard it on the radio this year, but I've sought it out on YouTube this week because I just wanted to listen to the whole thing again. And it's a minute and a half, I think, of just, it's the tone.
Yeah, it is.
And the lovely read on it. And just, I think you've the nostalgia factor in it as well. So I don't know if everybody will remember it, if everybody recall it, but it was a gorgeous read and a gorgeous charm to it. And that word charm is quite important, and it's missing in a lot of things as well, as the rampant consumerism and the full plates of food and the shoving it down our throats.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need like the Barry's ad, which softens the mood and kind of there's a little bit of sadness maybe to it and a little bit of thinking.
Pathos.
And pathos is the word, of course. You'd have it. Have to look it up, but there is that pathos and. Just something different, because Christmas isn't gorgeous for everyone, and brings something different, brings you to a slightly different place.
Yeah.
and thinking back in good times and bad. Like, you know, that's what I love about the bars.
Yeah.
Charm in buckets.
Which now Co-op this year have kind of done something maybe in that space without getting too, as you said, modelling, as you said earlier on, not about them, but if people haven't seen what the Co-op work in the
so
UK.
Cards on Table, Co-op is Lucky General's client for my work. So they had a brief to do something different, and Co-op is an amazing organisation because it's a retailer, but it does a funeral care business and insurance, and since 2016 they've raised about 100 million for community causes, right? So they wanted to shun the kind of big budget TV ads and do something different. So it's about the real spirit of Christmas is community spirit. So let's give the gift of community spirit. So it's about showing that when you shop at Co-op, you might go in for an irresistible pizza and a bottle of wine and some table tennis sets for the youth club. Because when you shop there, your money goes towards these things. So they're basically donating. If you, whatever's in your wallet, you know, your e-wallet for places. So I think people have an average about £5 in their wallet. And so kind of asking people to donate what's in your wallet and we'll match it this Christmas. So it's let's give the gift of community spirit. But like in a world of kind of CGI and AI and all that, what Co-op and Lucky Generals did was kind of basically photograph these items in incredible detail. So allotments and goalposts and the things that go to the causes and turn that into a quite elegant, lovely out-home campaign and all about the gift of community spirit, which, we're very proud of.
Yeah, it is nice.
It's very different.
Not many have done it.
No, we were talking about that, right? In terms of it's refreshing to hear something like a brand be somewhat altruistic and looking at the greater good and the bigger scheme of things. And I think if I've one criticism of the Christmas ads this year, I guess looking at, you know, the System 1 top performers, there's not many in there that are not overly commercial. And I think there's space for that. And I think the Aldi ad, Aldi or Little.
Which one?
Kevin Carrot, yes.
I'll have to cut that bit.
Well, that is a bigger problem for them. Like people, which brand is which?
Yeah,
you know, they've got that.
But the Kevin the Carrot ad, I think at the end, the final frame of the Kevin the Carrot ad, I did notice a Bernardo symbol down the bottom, and I went, "Oh, isn't that lovely?" Especially like this time of year, and I know when you go in there you can donate for Bernardo, so you can buy something and donate it to Bernardo's, and I think that's a lovely way. But I would have loved to seen that kind of maybe just hinted at a little bit heavier, with the Kevin the Carrot ad. So
it's a hard balance to get.
It is
right,
very
because
hard.
it can get very
worthy.
Yes, worthy, and like again, we talked about it before, like that the make sure the brand's product has a role in the ad, and so how does then a cause have a role? And I think like Co-op's a good example of actually it's what they do. Yeah. So it makes sense. So how do you, like doing that can be really hard, and I think can look bad. Like,
it can look bad, but there's also a tension between the best Christmas ads are the ones that lift us up and the ones that take us out of, I guess, reality or give us that kind of escapism. So I think there's a place for it, and I think maybe the Kevin the Carrot ad has done it really well in that, you know, it's highly entertaining. My kids love it. They want a Kevin the Carrot.
Yeah.
There's a Willy joke.
There's a Willy joke.
Yes, you have to. There is a Willy joke in the ad.
Thanks, Paul.
Which you told, we hadn't seen that.
Yeah, you told us about the Willy joke.
Love a bit of puerile humour.
It's a big Willy.
Yeah, there's
what's the line?
What is the line?
That's huge, Willy.
That's huge, Willy.
Yeah.
Christ.
But sorry, like, how did that get past? I mean,
it's just the power of a well-placed comment in a script. So
that's huge.
Willy.
Willy.
Amazing. Great work, writers.
But yeah, I think with Kevin the Carrot and Bernardo's, I think there's a nice association there, and maybe they bring, I'm not sure, but maybe they're bringing Bernardo's in at more of a sales level, which I think is welcome. Yeah.
Did you enjoy this year's Willy jokes, Kevin the Carrot execution? Because it seems to be a theme now where it's like, put Kevin in a tale.
Yeah.
You know, has it run its course?
You want to take
You'd be more critical than I was. Do you know what? I like that they stick to Kevin the Carrot and get Kevin to perform. I think it's well written. I think Jim Broadbent does a lovely read on it, and that back to that charm and softness. I think that's great. I really, really like them. Yeah, I really like them, and I'd keep running with Kevin the Carrot.
I think, is it System One's best ad this year. Is that the one? I think it is. Obviously, it's performing really well for them. And what I do like about what they do is that kind of fresh consistency.
Yeah.
So he's still fluid. He's there every Christmas, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So they're continuing to engage. What I'll also say about Kevin the Carrot is he was also there for the Rugby World Cup, right?
That was a great.
And I thought that was a stroke of genius to bring Kevin the Carrot in with Paul O'Connell and engage in that way. So they're making more of him. So yeah.
Making him work hard for his contract.
Yeah.
But just when you're talking about the Bernardos and that aspect of altruism, like there is a job to do as well and sell an insane amount of product.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that as well, because if you're advertising, your job is to sell stuff, right? And do it in a really clever, cool way. And I do think that Aldi probably do that in real, because it's full of products everywhere and it describes their products really well.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe some of the other ads there have a touch of the vulgarness of it.
Yeah.
Loads of kind of wealthy people having the most fantastic time at their table full of expensive food.
Yes.
And it could be like it's December, early December, and it's exhausting already. You know, the pressure of people to consume and buy and, all, you know, in a difficult spot, you know.
Moving away maybe from kind of the grocery side of things, I think JD Sports have come out with the non-Christmas ad, and really kind of, it feels really cultural and speaking to kind of that age and generation that love JD Sports, love the yellow bag and the, you know, carried around. What was your view?
I just thought it was very gritty, and look, it's treated really well. For that, you know, we all know what the director is going for, and he's absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
And I think it reads like a movie trailer. It's really good. But it's just personally not to my taste.
Advertising is personal.
Yeah.
Paul,
We all watch the like minute and a half versions, don't we? Because we're in this world where not everybody's going to consume the minute and a half beautiful, elegant, expensive story. Love the bags, love the yellow, love that everywhere. We like saw the ad twice this morning on the drive here and out at home, which is a great thing. Which not everybody brings it through. It reminded me a little bit of the Nike Nothing Beats a Londoner.
Yes.
That kind of vibe. Yeah. It's been described elsewhere as the Die Hard of Christmas ads, and I think that's probably a good description of it, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of approach, isn't it?
I completely agree. The bag, I think, is really clever way of, because that could have gone off on its own, and I think fair play to the client in JD to kind of go, no, we've got, how do we weave our presence into, like that was a big shoot.
Yeah.
Like how many, like it goes cut to cut to cut. So I'd say that was like a week-long shoot, and to ensure that, you know, the bag, they had a presence in every scene, make it relevant, and tonally it's a very strong tone.
Yeah.
And to associate your brand with that, I think is really strong. Yeah, I think it's a good ad. It's just not to my taste.
Your Christmas cup of tea.
No. Christmas pudding.
Now let's talk about something. Is it a Christmas ad, Emer? Rockshore? Is it winning Christmas, or is it winning Stevenson's Day or Boxing Day?
Are you talking about a Stevens Day ad?
Yes.
Oh yeah, because I think this wins the Stevens Day ad category. Yeah, Rockshore. Yeah, so this is an ad that I worked with the Rockshore team in Diageo. And yeah, look, Rockshore is only a baby. It's only 4 years old, I think. Like if it was a person, it'd be junior infants. Like it's a baby. So and as a result, it's we're all very lucky to work on it because it's somewhat wet clay still, and we're very fortunate to kind of influence it at this stage of its brand cycle. So. We're still kind of manoeuvring it a little bit, but Linda Bradley in there, who's our head of beers, what a title.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't it amazing? No. Almost as good as your head of mystery.
I feel like head of beers with Homer feels like a head of beers.
Linda's great. She's done a great job in steering the Rockshore brand to be somewhat more distinctive and identifiable, and we were really working from that point.
Yeah.
And I guess we knew Rockshore doesn't traditionally do well at Christmas. It's a very very refreshing beer. It's very summer beer, but we knew we had an opportunity at Christmas time to do something. And given that the brand itself is refreshingly Irish and celebrates everything that is refreshingly Irish, and those refreshingly Irish occasions where Mates come together and like we all have that levity and the brutal slagging and the crack. It felt like, you know, there were a lot of Christmas insights. There's tons of Christmas insights, but and I guess the trick is finding the one that works for your brief.
Yeah.
And the one that we landed on was, you know, I have to spend Christmas Day with my family, but I want to spend Stephen's Day with my mates. And then you land on something like that and you go, God, we could go so far with this. And I guess no one owns Stephen's Day. And what an underrated day.
It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you're a certain age, when you're in your 20s probably, isn't it? It's the best night of the year.
Just, there's a feast of football. It is the best night of the year. There's a feast of football on. Leopardstown's on. The sales are on. The fridge is full. Santi's been and gone. The kids are occupied with toys. And there's still roses left in the tin. So it's like one of the best days. And the pubs are also open. So we thought of Rockshore being that brand that celebrates those freshly Irish occasions with mates, that we should own or try to own. So that was the insight, and then the idea became to unofficially sponsor Stephen's Day, and it became and it's the feedback's been really positive. But it started off as a let's do something on social. So we have a campaign asset, and our campaign's performing really well for us with the guy on the piano. Rocco, we call him.
Oh, I was wondering because I know him. I know Luke O'Reilly, and I'm like, what? He has a name.
Yeah, his name's Rocco, and he's performing really well for us on TV. And we were like, well, we knew that TV ad would be running, and like, how do we link the two and would do something for social? And I guess we said, okay, we can do something with Stephen's Day. He can sing a Stephen's Day song, but he can't always be taking the piss out of other people because it can't always be one-way street. So who's going to give, you know, Rocco a hard time? So enter Ronan Keaton.
How did Ronan Keaton come about?
Just exactly like that. Like, I guess Rocco's croons along, and we're like, who could croon along with Rocco, and who'd be up for it? Because the challenge with this is you can't be the brand that gives it but can't take it, and vice versa. So Ronan was up for it, and M&C Saatchi, our ad agency, and Guy, who's our CD there, we pushed him to kind of go, no, you know, really push Ronan, see, like, will he take the piss out of himself out of that late show get up?
Oh yeah, the dance.
The dance. And like, and even now when you watch that, it's just hilarious. So, and Ronan was up for it. So we knew we could push it a little bit, and Ronan, so it's been really well received, so much so that we're going to put it on the telly.
And I didn't know it wasn't on. Yeah. So, okay, so it's only going to
we're
go
going
on
the telly now in a couple of weeks. Next week, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 13th.
And what was in? I love the bit where Ronan's kind of talking about how often the previous ad was on rotation.
Yeah.
But I love that kind of the brand, like, and maybe we pick up on it more. But like, you know, I've had people say to me, "God, there are Rockshore ads everywhere," and it was brought in. You kind of did take the piss out of yourselves a bit.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, I think as well, contemporary brands need to do. Like, Rockshore's only 4 years old. It doesn't have the baggage or the heritage of other beer brands. Yeah. So we kind of have the freedom to be more contemporary in the way we manage our brand. And I think brands these days need to take it as well as give it. And you were saying that kind of self-deprecation is really welcome from a brand. Especially, it's true, the Rockshore ad is never off the telly. Never. So let's lean into that and have fun with it.
Sounds like a dream. Like self-deprecation, I'm like thinking of The Simpsons, and they would take the piss out of Fox, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
In the script, like a great example of when brands take the piss in a really in-jokey way, it's class. And I think Ronan Keating is that semi-divisive Irish character. He's a bit marmite. Like a really ripe time for him to get in and be self-aware, to take the piss out of himself a little bit with that. So yeah, really clever way.
Yeah, and the unexpected bits. I mean, where you throw Luke into the Ronan late show.
Yeah,
that was just so.
Do you know what, that was gas when they were shooting that, because it got to a point where Ronan was teaching him.
No,
amazing.
No way.
And he had it had all going on. It was gas, but I think we were very careful with the treatment of that ad, because we didn't want it to feel highly polished or like obviously too Guinnessy or too heritagey, because it's not. So even at the end, when you see the pints being put down, like they're kind of thrown down the way your barman throws them down, and that's the way. That's what happens. Yeah. It's not this beautifully polished, you know, crucible being put in front of you.
Yeah.
It was just it feels natural. It feels kind of more not overly produced, I think is what we were looking for.
The autograph at the end.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Not for Ronan. Not for Ronan. Before we move on from our Christmas ads, look at a few other things. Anyone that you have, Paul, that we haven't talked about, and maybe there isn't, but any others kind of stand out for you?
The Morrison's ad.
Oh, yeah.
With the oven gloves.
Yeah.
Singing oven gloves. Mainly because of Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now.
Yeah.
The song, and is that
Starship?
Starship, yeah, Starship. So I went down a rabbit hole yesterday of who wrote looking for live performances of Starship on YouTube, singing it at their peak, right? Because there's so many good lines in it. And then it's written by Albert Hammond. You know Albert Hammond?
Yeah.
Wrote that with Diane Warren, who's the dad of one of the fellas in the Strokes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and all this. And,
Right.
yeah, so went down this whole Starship, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now rabbit hole, and then came back to the ad. I was thinking about the oven gloves and that kind of. There's a lot of conversations, even at Lucky Generals, about how we approach Christmas, because not everybody celebrates Christmas in the same way, depending on your religion and your background. And what's in the Morrisons is obviously the hero is the oven glove, which everybody has either hanging on the oven or somewhere around the kitchen or that. And I thought that was a really clever, cute way in. And the power of the song, which is obviously I'm of a certain age and I love a good 80s banger.
So I
That
love a good 80s banger, and I'm actually loving at the moment all the McDonald's ads, the Morrison ad. There's loads of 80s tracks being dug out. I don't know if they're
Cheaper?
but I'm absolutely loving it. Bring on Paul Young.
Target audience, maybe,
Yeah. Show my age.
But yeah, I think Morrison's did a nice job on it, and again, I don't know if it'll stand the test of time or be used again, but maybe that's an example. Whereas, why wouldn't you use that next year?
Yeah. Emer, any others that you have that we haven't covered?
No, I think. Oh, I give a hat tip to Waitrose. I know you don't like this one, but and it's with Graham Norton.
Yeah.
Another actually 80s track. It might be the track that does it for me.
Music is important.
Music is
for
important.
you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I liked it because tonally I want to be at that party. I think and when it comes to Christmas ads, we all get into the danger or the banana skin of just talking about the execution rather than talking about the idea. But executionally, I thought Waitrose was very strong. Graham Norton is in it, and to your point, he adds that lovely charm to it. But it doesn't become the Graham Norton ad.
Right. Yeah.
So and the only other ad I'd talk about then would be Marks and Spencer's food. Again, like another food.
Yeah.
Another food ad, but I think they just do food so well. Like you'd be drooling looking at those ads.
Yeah.
So and I think sticking with the Dawn French Fairy, they're obviously trying to use her each year, so that's fresh consistency.
Yes.
And the only thing I would say is that, and I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan. I didn't know it was Ryan Reynolds in the mittens. So I don't know why you'd get Ryan Reynolds and not show Ryan Reynolds. As you said, it might be a contractual thing or something.
The Dawn French, where it's not actually her, but it's her. You know,
it's her. You know, it's her.
Yeah.
You know, it's her face.
Because I heard it as well, and I was like, it was actually Rob McElhenney's voice I picked out first. And I was like, oh, well, that must be Ryan Reynolds then, because he's lesser known. It seemed an odd way to spend your money.
Yeah.
Are you wearing Santa socks?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've gone all in. Yeah.
Nice. Sorry, you distracted with your Air Jordans. It's a good combination, strong combination, Conor.
Air Santa.
Yeah. Probably haven't talked a lot about ads in Ireland at Christmas and Irish specific ads because there haven't really been any new ads this Christmas.
Well, there's Tato.
Mr. Tato came
Mr.
out.
Tato did.
Is that their first Christmas ad?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yes.
I like that. I think the idea is nice. The idea that, Santa wishes for Tato under his tree, I think is a really strong idea. And it's great to see. And what I loved about it was that it's not a packet of crisps under the tree. It's that box we buy in Dunn's. It's the box that everyone and it takes up the whole of your trolley. Yeah. That huge box. And I just thought that's lovely because that's what we buy at Christmas.
Yeah.
What I would say about it though is like it's such an iconic Irish brand. it would have been nice to see kind of more Irish cues brought into it and made it more ownable.
Yeah.
Or given it its place, I would say. But I think it's a lovely ad. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Complete at the risk of agreeing with you. Yeah, like, I mean, we talk about all the big UK ads, which are probably loaded with bigger populations and therefore massive budgets.
Yeah.
And there's probably a budgetary thing with Tato, despite being one of Ireland's best, strongest, most iconic brands. A lovely idea. What does Santa want for Christmas? He wants Tato. And the boxes are already in our supermarkets and our shops doing an incredible job. And it probably would have liked to just see a bit more of that around the place.
Yeah.
And it's probably an executional thing, but yeah, fair play to Tato.
And I think that's one they could run every year.
I was going to say build. They could build on this and do something, and then, you know. But I think, you know, to be fair to the, you know, Irish clients, you know, they haven't gone out and said, well, you know, budgetary constraints maybe, but like rush to make a new ad. There is a lot of reusing of ads in the market. We've talked about Guinness and how Dunn's use their ads over and over again. So it's, you know, there's positives to that as well.
Circular advertising.
Circular advertising, exactly. Do you want me to quickly go through the System 1? We did ask System 1 for their top rated ads, see if there's any we did. That's why I have the phone here. Hang on. So we will go through them. So the most effective UK Christmas ads long term, from 5 to 1, we do it as, that's what I call marketing countdown. 5 Marks and Spencer's. In it for the works.
Which M&S one?
It doesn't say.
It could be the one where
Hannah.
Waddingham, yeah, from Ted Lasso, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
She did a lot of ads this year.
I think, just a point on that, sorry to interrupt, but like I feel sorry for advertisers once there's complaints about an ad and some of that got pulled and re-edited. Like, that's such a hard process because of the Christmas cracker looking like the Palestinian flag and stuff like that. My heart breaks a little bit for hardworking creatives, hardworking teams who then have to do something that's perhaps not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And they fell foul of that a little bit.
That was
Very unfortunate,
yeah. And clearly
Completely.
And I think that's a good example of that. Marks and Spencer's ad is a good example of an insight that definitely resonated with me, which is, you know, there are a lot of traditions that we all don't buy into, and you don't have to buy into them and Elf on the Shelf being one of them. Elf on the Shelf, that resonates with me. You know, kicking Elf on the Shelf off the roof.
Yeah.
I think it's a lovely insight there, and the idea being you do Christmas your way.
Yeah.
I think it was strong. I think it fell down in execution because I actually had to rewind that a couple of times to actually get it.
I was lost.
I was lost a bit, yeah. But a nice idea.
Glitzy, which is M&S.
Yeah.
So that, you know, sparkle is not their thing. Number 4 is The Works. I actually don't know what that was. 3 Amazon.
Yeah, there you go.
2 Coca-Cola.
The trucks.
The new one.
The new one.
Yeah. And then
So that's all the Santas.
All the Santas doing Santa things. And then number 1 Aldi.
Kevin Garrett, right? Okay, amazing.
And then there was fluency ranking, ad brand linkage, and Asda is top of that list. So which we knew that.
Well done to them.
Geniuses.
Yeah, it was clever.
So before we wrap up, I do want to ask you kind of about the general review of the year and work that you've loved and enjoyed in 2023. Emer, I'll start with you.
So we're laughing because I struggled with this question a little bit. But I have, I do think, and because it's not just this year, I think it started in 2022, but I really appreciate and commend Bank of Ireland and what they're doing, especially with Baz Ashrami. And he's brought a lovely he's humanising a stuffy bank brand. And I got past the Bank of Ireland the other day in Sutton, and like it has moolah written in front of it.
Does it?
Like it has Bash Ashrami going, come in here for your moolah or teach you about moolah. And like who'd have thought Bank of Ireland would ever stretch that far?
Yeah.
And I think he does a brilliant job in humanising, but adding charm, adding an Irish sense of humour, and a kind of adding a wink
consistency as well, isn't it? They've used them for so long.
Yeah. And they're doing a lovely piece with kids and teaching kids in school how to manage their money. There's a lovely spot on that as well. And I think he's been good to Bank of Ireland, I think. And I hope they're going to stick with him. Because I think he's cutting through. He's very well liked. He's very underexposed as well as an Irish celebrity. So
hasn't been RTE'd.
Yeah, hasn't been RTE'd. So he's ownable for them, and I think he's done a great job in just making them feel more accessible and more democratic. So yeah, Bank of Ireland for me.
Okay, so good creative from this year. Because I live in Dublin and I work in England, I'm going to try pick an example of each. The mobile network EE did some lovely ads with music by Block Party.
Okay.
These epic slice of life and kids using phones at younger age and then linking that to phone safety and what it can do. They were beautifully executed, really, really lovely creative campaigns. In Ireland, thinking about Shane McGowan yesterday passing away, the Epic Museum did the boys from the NYPD choir. They Public House Agency brought those together to actually make the song for the first time. I thought that was lovely, really clever. And anything else?
The NYPD choir
were singing Galway Bay, which didn't happen originally because
singing Galway Bay. So they sing Galway Bay.
They made it happen, yeah. So they made a choir of they brought a choir together from the NYPD, wasn't it, to do a thing that's never been done or never happened because Shane McGowan had written it, but it didn't exist. So while the song Galway Bay was a thing, the NYPD choir doing it was never a thing. So they made that happen, which I thought was lovely and clever. The Irish Independent did one which was written all over Ireland, which had lovely lines of copy woven through Irish culture and different things from Irish dancing to fields to walls. I thought that was lovely. Yeah, a good, strong Irish brand as well.
Nice work. You haven't asked, but I'm going to have to mention one of my favourites from this year.
Connor, what's your favourite this year?
Tell us, Connor, what do you
Well, no, because I loved this and it was so out there and so different. Yorkshire tea, pack your bags for the summer. That just cracked me up, and I was like, "What?" I wanted to know where it charted. So somebody in Lucky General
still on Spotify.
If we only knew someone in Lucky General.
If only. But yeah, fantastic brands, lovely people, off a really strong, consistent strategy and platform. A brand that does things proper, even summer bangers.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It's brilliant. I'm going to ask you just general view on, I asked this to a lot of people, like the state of the industry. Are we doing good work? Are we doing good enough work? Are we being creative enough? Are we being brave enough? Paul? Oh, sorry, Emer. I was going to go to Paul first.
Are we being brave enough? I think we both come from a company, Paddy Power, which was obviously has a brave reputation, but also a desire to do things and people who are on tasked with doing things. So it's your job to do 6 things a year, and there's a budget for those 6 things in the more mischievous realm of you hear agencies saying they're trying to push clients to do brave work quite a lot. We're in a pocket of culture where I think Orlando Wood from System 1 will say it's a kind of a reformation type of buzz going on at the moment, coming out of bouncing in and out of recession, at least 2 wars going on and all kinds of hassle, right? So it's not easy for brands to go, yeah, if I've got 100 grand, 150 grand to do something brave, that's going to be the thing. So I don't think there's enough bravery out there, but that's very easy for me to say on this side of it. As on an agency side, there's always room for more of it. I do think the standard is good and high. I think humour has made a comeback and is making a comeback, and we see the little bits of darkness and the Christmas advertising and all that. During the review of the Christmas stuff, I was looking back in old Christmas ads. There's one from 2006, which was the snowman with Iron Brew. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Like, I'm walking on the air. Oh, I'm walking in the air. I'm sipping on an Iron Brew. Like, I'm just that kind of. I'm going to use the word that kind of fuckery.
Yeah,
you know, and and taking shots at sacred cows is brilliant. And so that I think there's more humour coming through in the second half of 2023. And you'd hope that will go forward a little bit into next year. And I do think the standard's high. And I think when agencies are making good work, and when brands are pushing out more creative work, it's good. The challenge is the big AI conversation. The really infuriating example on LinkedIn, that bastion of taste and sense this week, where somebody had mashed a Hermes bag together with Lego. and I got like thousands of likes. And it was another, I think it was like total fake. And that kind of annoys me about creativity. You have two amazing brands. Hermes are one of the best brands at codifying their brand, as are Lego.
Yeah.
And somebody's just mashed them together and probably infuriated both brands who might have been working for 18 months on different brand partnerships. And suddenly somebody comes out with that and nobody realizes it's a fake thing then and it travels. So that's where the battleground is. Democracy isn't for everybody, and democratizing creativity shouldn't be for everybody. Almost, you know, that there's got to be a standard on things, and a bit of restraint on what gets out into the world or what's allowed to get out into the world.
Yeah, and I think the value we put on creativity is really important. And I think from client side, agency side, that we can't ever give up on that. We can't ever say that, yeah, it's good enough for, you know, we'll just use that thing over there because it was cheap. I mean, it's not saying cheap stuff, you know, can't happen and work, but it's, we have to value the creative mind, the copywriters, you know, all those amazing
human
people.
Ingenuity of things.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Charlie's. We never talked about this. Charlie's Bar, which, you know, was made for how much?
700 quid.
700 quid. And you see how that took off virally. That and actually that comes back to your point around creativity. You know, you don't have to spend millions to do it. You know, and that Charlie's Bar has resonated with people because it's so true. Not having a pop is a brilliant ad, but like there's not enough payoff at the end for me to feel happy afterwards. And I think
he's going home alone.
Jamie works on that on, and yeah, I watched that and I cried. I thought it was so sad, and it left me in a darker place than when I started.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's not a brilliant ad.
Yeah.
And I think to your point around creativity, we can do that in a much more efficient way. And I think to your point around AI and, you know, the dangers and the threat of it, what I would say is if we lean into creativity and do it at a kind of more efficient, not throw millions at things so that we leave ourselves so exposed that we forget about the creativity and rely on AI to do it for us. So.
Jeff Bezos, wasn't he, used to say that constraints breed resourcefulness, wasn't it? And that if you take away the million quid and give yourself 700 quid, what would you do?
Yeah. What would you do? It is a great thing to do. I think with that Charlie's Bar ad, I think it was when the dog jumps up on the seat that the emotional spike went through. System One. This is not sponsored by System One. They have their own bloody podcast. Like, seriously. That's what I call marketing. It's not the uncensored CMO.
Kantar's not bad. Just for balance.
We'll throw them all in, I had a great chat with Mary Curie Caddy earlier this year. Anything else, just thinking ahead to 24 that you're kind of excited about in the world of marketing?
No, we're launching a new mobile phone network into the world at the agency next year. That's pretty exciting for us. The Olympics for me, like, you know, that whole battleground between official sponsors and unofficial sponsors and who messes with that is kind of maybe a much needed happy time. There's a football tournament next year, which England may or may not do well at. I'm pretty excited about that. And sadly, Ireland are not at the races anywhere to be seen. So I'm unexcited about that. And that's it.
The girls are doing well.
Girls are doing great.
The girls are doing great. So yeah, there could be something there for us. But we spoke about this earlier on. I think what got everyone really excited in the last few weeks was U2 in the Sphere and what they have done for entertainment and kind of push the envelope on. And I'm excited to see, because there's talk of a Sphere being built in London and that kind of experience. I think experiential music is going to come on leaps and bounds. And I think that was and I know you've been there, Paul, so tell us all about it. But I think, that really excited me, that innovation in gigs, in music, and for you to suddenly be the most relevant band in the world again, phenomenal. Was amazing for them. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, that was
where that goes.
Amazing, amazing. Well, listen, thank you both so much for being here today to talk all things Christmassy. We didn't get too macro on anything at all, or political or anything. So
keep our jobs.
We did well.
Don't get fired.
Well, that's it for this episode of That's What I Call Marketing. Hope you enjoyed our Christmas rundown. Thanks again to today's sponsor, the Indie List, where you can get more of the seasonal hires you need at any time of the year, really, just definitely this time of the year. And they will hire fast, speedy, efficiently. Of course, the brilliant Una and Peter there, they're so sound.
With charm. With charm.
With charm and soundness.
Yes.
Soundness. So check out the indielist.ie and let Una and Peter fill your Christmas stocking with the best talent around. I'd never make a copywriter. I should use AI for this the next time, shouldn't I? Thanks to our wonderful hosts here, TBWA, amazing venue for us to use. We're really grateful. And finally, a massive thanks to the brilliant talent Rob Treelor and Eamon at Oranges and Lemons, who came in, set up, filmed all of this for us and made us look deadly. They even put hair on Paul Mallon.
Which I haven't seen since '88.
So you can check them out for any of your production needs on orangesandlemons.ie. That's it. Thanks for listening and watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, rant, share, etc. So until the next episode, from me, your host, Conor Byrne, thanks very much.